Hello there, and welcome to Interpretation, which is the nuts and bolts of the inductive Bible study method. So, what is interpretation? Well, interpretation is about investigating the meaning of the passage, but it's also very important to read around the passage so we can make sure we can keep it in context. Now, to do this, we're going to use various tools to go through interpretation. So, yes, Greek and Hebrew language, here we are. Now, it's actually incredibly important to look at the original language because the original language words had much more meaning than in our current time. And this is actually a lot easier to check this out considering we now have all sorts of technology. So just for instance, this morning I was meditating on Psalm 91:1, and it is, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty." Well, let's look at the second line, which is will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. Now we can get the basic inference of this, but the full meaning of this actual sentence is we will trust in the protection and defense of the Almighty. So I think it's really important to look through it and to understand. So for this, we're actually going to use a concordance. And, since the invention of computers, etc., these are now all on the internet. So it's actually incredibly helpful. And that's what we will be using. Now, there are also dictionaries and maps. Now, the dictionaries are very helpful to look up subjects. We're going to use them to look up what testimony means, or to testify, which can also mean witness. So we also have to think, what language would they use in that period, so we can help us to look it up in the dictionary. Now, the maps are also incredibly helpful because we can look up the journeys of the people, we can look up the places where they are and how it was all laid out. Now, there are some other helpful tools we'll use. We're going to be using study Bibles. Now, study Bibles are very, very helpful. They're very condensed in information, which is great. And with them, you can find all sorts of cross-references. So, really, the Bible answers itself. If you look up a verse, all the cross-references for that verse, you will probably find an answer to help you actually understand what it means. Now, we're also going to use some commentaries, but it's a good idea to not go to the commentaries first of all. We want to see what are we trying to find out. But the commentaries are really helpful to have a look and just make sure we're on the right track, especially if you're doing this on your own at the kitchen table. Okay. Now, there are also different translations, and that is also very, very helpful. And as I said, we're actually going to use the internet for all this. You can get book form, but we are going to use the internet. I'm going to show you how to use free tools to actually do all of this. So come and join me, and we shall have a look through and see what we can find out.